Rain lashed against the windshield as Daniel parked his old sedan in front of the towering glass building of Marcellus Industries. The lights glimmered like a city of gold, mocking the man who had once known wealth far greater than this. To everyone, Daniel was just another single dad looking for work, tired eyes hiding years of struggle. But behind that calm face was a truth powerful enough to shock the city, one that no one, not even the mighty CEO Richard Marcellus, could ever imagine. That he clutched a small silver pendant in his hand before stepping out. It had the crest of the Hartman Foundation engraved on it, a symbol of a past he had buried long ago. Today wasn't about who he used to be. It was about surviving, for the sake of his little daughter, Lily, who lay in a hospital bed fighting a rare illness inside the marble lobby. Daniel stood quietly, waiting for his turn. When his name was called, he entered the office. Behind the massive oak desk sat Richard Marcellus, tall, commanding, and cold. He didn't look up right away. His reputation for being ruthless preceded him, so, Richard said finally, glancing through the file, "You're here for the driver position?" "Yes, sir." "Single parent. No recent references. You've changed several jobs in the past few years. Why should I hire you?" Daniel hesitated. "Because I'll never give up, sir. Not on my work, and not on my daughter." Richard raised an eyebrow, unimpressed. "You'll be on probation. Don't be late, and don't talk unless spoken to." "Yes, sir," Daniel replied softly, and just like that, the once rich heir of the Hartman family became a chauffeur, a man who drove another to his dreams while his own were buried under memories. Each morning, he would drop Lily off at school, whispering promises of a better tomorrow. Each night, he drove the CEO through glittering city lights that once belonged to his world. Days turned into weeks. Richard never spoke much, only issuing curt orders. Daniel endured the insults, the long hours, and the silence, because every paycheck meant another day of medicine for Lily. Yet, sometimes, fate speaks louder in silence. One stormy night, the car broke down on a deserted road. Rain poured relentlessly as Daniel stepped out to fix it. When lightning flashed, Richard caught a glimpse of the pendant hanging near the rearview mirror. "Where did you get that?" he demanded. Daniel's hands froze on the hood. "It's all I have left from my past. That crest, that's the Hartman Foundation logo. My scholarship came from them when I was a kid." "Who are you, really?" Daniel looked away, the rain hiding his tears. "Just a man who lost everything that didn't matter, so he could save the one thing that did." Richard didn't press further that night. But curiosity burned inside him. Over the next days, he began to notice things about Daniel: the calm confidence, the way he handled stressful moments, the discipline, and the wisdom that came with quiet dignity. It didn't match the life of an ordinary driver. A week later, during a meeting, a supplier publicly insulted one of Richard's junior employees. Before anyone could react, Daniel stepped in with steady eyes. "Respect doesn't come from your title," he said. "It comes from how you treat people beneath you." The room fell silent. Richard was stunned. He had never seen anyone speak that way with such humility and strength. That night, he ordered a background check. When the file arrived, Richard was speechless. Daniel Hartman, son of Edward Hartman, founder of the same trust that had once changed Richard's life. Years ago, Daniel had vanished from public life after his wife's death and a betrayal by his business partners. The heir who could have inherited an empire had chosen instead to raise his daughter alone. The next morning, Richard waited by the car himself. When Daniel arrived, Richard said quietly, "You helped build men like me, and now you drive one. That doesn't feel right." Daniel smiled faintly. "Life has a strange way of humbling us, sir." But that conversation changed everything. Richard began to help quietly. He upgraded Lily's medical treatment without telling Daniel, found her the best doctors, and ensured she lacked nothing. When Daniel found out, he tried to refuse, but Richard stopped him. "I owe my life to your father's kindness," he said. "Let me return a small part of that debt." Time passed, and Lily's health improved. Richard and Daniel grew close, not as boss and driver, but as two men bound by gratitude and respect. Then came the night of the company's grand anniversary gala. The hall shimmered with lights, filled with the elite of the city. As Daniel stood quietly near the exit, Richard took the microphone and said, "Tonight, I want to honor someone who taught me what leadership truly means. He called Daniel onto the stage. This man once gave me a chance when I had nothing. I stand here because of his family's kindness. And today, I want him to stand where he belongs, beside me. Gasps filled the hall as Richard continued. I am proud to announce Daniel Hartmann as the new vice president of Marcellus Industries. Tears filled Daniel's eyes as the crowd erupted in applause. The man who had once been mocked for driving others had just driven his own life back into light. Later that night, he returned home and found Lily sleeping peacefully. He knelt beside her, whispering, "We made it, sweetheart. Your mom would be proud." He looked out the window where city lights danced like stars. The same city that once broke him now bowed before his quiet strength, because no matter how far you fall, the heart that chooses love, humility, and sacrifice can always rise again. And Daniel Hartmann proved that true greatness isn't in the name you carry, but in the way you carry yourself when the world forgets who you are.